Get the comfy chair!
Welcome to this episode of The Good, the Bad and the Odd. Your hosts Mike and Sam. Hi Sam.
Hello there.
Right, so it's comfy chair time. We're doing March 2024. We're covering some of the stuff we watched in March 2024. And I should mention at this point, we're getting close to the 1,000th episode. We're about 30 off of that, so there's summit, right? That's a thing, right?
Yeah.
That also includes all the anthologic stuff I do, though, and there's nearly 200 episodes of that, so, fair enough. All right, let's get going. I'll start. I think I've got a few more than you, so I'll start if that's all right. Right, the first one's a bit of an odd one. I'm rewatching, I think I mentioned last time, I'm rewatching Kevin Smith movies chronologically, and I think last Comfy Chair I mentioned Jersey Girl, which I really liked. This one is a rewatch for me, but I wasn't looking forward to this rewatch, but I thought, you know what, let's just give it another go. And it's his horror film Tusk. And he made a couple of horror adjacent kind of movies. He also made Red State. Rewatched Tusk. Now, the first time I watched it, I really didn't like it. I liked the horror stuff, but I didn't like the tonal shifting in and out. You've seen it, right? From the sound of it.
Yes, I have seen it.
Yeah. I didn't like... So last time I watched it, I gave it a 2.5 out of 5. But actually, I've bumped up a whole point. I kind of... maybe it's because of very low expectations and stuff like that. But I actually quite enjoyed it quite a bit more. I appreciated the horror stuff and the Michael Parks stuff much more. No, I say that. I appreciated it last time, but the tonal shifts just wrecked the movie for me. I kind of live with it this time, and I'm rewatching the horror stuff. I appreciate it. I also kind of thought the podcasters, the main people involved in this were even bigger douchebags than I remembered last time, right? So he kind of got something, not necessarily deserved, but, there was some payback there for just being horrible to people on the internet. Calls it a suicide. That's pretty bad. But the Johnny Depp stuff kind of made me chuckle a bit more than wince. Basically Johnny Depp's as a Quebecois ex-police detective who got fired because of his obsession with this mad guy. And he kind of plays it quirky and weird, but actually I quite liked his performance on the rewatch, so it was a bit better for me. So yeah, not a great film, but there's bits, the horror stuff and the Michael Parks monologues are really good. It's just the rest of the movie kind of derails it significantly.
Yeah.
If it had been much more on Michael Parks and his stuff, this could have been a really good film. Really good. But yeah. And it was funny that I actually did listen to the original podcast where Kevin Smith...
Yeah, I remember. I was there when you listened to it.
When it came out, so it was kind of funny to see that sort of German idea evolve into this, and not successfully entirely, but you know what? He did some of the things they said in that original podcast when they were just throwing ideas around. And he saw it to fruition. And I kind of like the bit where Tusk actually, the Fleetwood Mac song just rises up.
I'm not gonna lie, this ruined Fleetwood, that song for me.
Oh no! I've always liked that song, so I'm not. The song wasn't wrecked for me by this. I just thought it was goofy. Anyway, yes, there we go. Tusk.
I just thought it would be a bit more creative than he wants to actually have him turned into a walrus.
Yeah. From
the original idea of there's this guy who wants to hire someone to dress as a walrus and stand in the corner.
They rushed the whole horror of having limbs being lopped off or changed, didn't they? That was the problem. That could have been way more extended. The Quebecois stuff could have cut down a bit. And that horror, there's an old film called If, where it's a really weird bit. this film's like it's about a schoolboy that's British society going to shit in the early 70s. But there's one scene that keeps coming back to where a guy's in a bed, and every time he wakes up, a hospital bed, every time this guy wakes up, and it's nothing to do with the rest of the film, it's just some guy in a hospital bed. When he looks down, he's got another limb missing, right? He's slowly being reduced. And it's horrific, but it's like almost like an EC comic kind of horrific, because you got no context for this character. All you see is every time he wakes up, he's got a limb reduced. That could have played really well into Tusk, actually. But he didn't do that. But yeah, apparently he's got a plan. There's been discussion of a sequel where the guy actually becomes human again and he goes on a weird adventure.
That was always fucking weird that they were like,
I
guess
left
you just leave him at a zoo.
They left him in a zoo because he'd gone mental. But yeah, that was stupid. That was a really stupid engine, I have to say. But yeah, I didn't mind it so much this time. Maybe, actually, you know what? I didn't raise it a point. Raised it half a point. It's more like a 3 out of 5 than a 2.5 out of 5. But yeah, Tusk. There you go. Over to you.
Okay. So, my first thing is, like, in the lead up to a big movie that I will be discussing later, I rewatched all of the Monsterverse. So, Godzilla, Kong Skull Island, Godzilla King of the Monsters, and then Godzilla vs. Kong.
Okay.
Now, those are some fun movies, and it's also very funny to see the tone shift so much.
In a good way, though, right?
Yeah.
In a good way.
Yeah, I enjoy these, I enjoy both sort of sides of this. I enjoy the really serious first Godzilla movie, which...
I enjoy it, but it's a bit stodgy.
Yeah.
I thought it was all right and kind of dark, but there wasn't quite enough Godzilla action for me.
Yeah, and then you got, like, Kong, which was just a great film.
Skull Island is a
Skull
great
Island,
film.
Yeah,
great film.
And then we got King of the Monsters and then Godzilla vs. Kong, which are just monster meshes. Complete insanity in most of the things that they're saying. Just the generals, like, oh yeah, we just found an underground city. Like, it's just completely underwater, and Godzilla's nesting there and feeding off the radiation in, like, the core of the planet.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Why not? Why not?
And then the whole Hollow Earth thing finally comes around. And
I've been meaning to revisit this, because, I mean, I really, really dug Godzilla -1. I've been meaning to revisit this, and also because of the film that's just come out, which you're probably going to get into, I'm going to guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is. Skull Island, I think, might be my favourite. No, actually, no. Godzilla vs. Kong's my favourite of the ones you just discussed, but Skull Island's my second. I think when Kong comes into it, it makes it a little more not interesting.
Because
more fun.
Kong's a lot more humanizable.
Yeah,
like you can you can emote a lot more than Godzilla. But Godzilla is very emotive in these films. It's very funny to see him go from this like kind of serious-ish, tired big lizard in the first movie to like having to constantly like improve in his fighting, and he's kind of going back to like a sort of like ready to run. To be frank, in Godzilla X Kong, he is like up and ready to fight, and almost all of his scenes are like training montages.
Oh,
like,
love that!
Just
That's
like going,
awesome.
finding a monster, beating the shit out of it, and then going to sleep.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, they're not going to go full Goofy Toho stuff. I can't imagine Godzilla in this universe flying about, for example. I better shut up. All right, okay, all right.
Okay.
My next film is a really brutal British crime movie from the early 70s, and there was a lot of brutal ones at this time. You know, there was your Get Carters and your Performance and things like that. This one is a bit more under the radar than all those. It's much less known. It's Oliver Reed's in the lead, and you know how he can be a beast when he wants to be. It's called Sitting Target, and essentially it's Oliver Reed as a prisoner who his wife tells him she's got a lover and she's pregnant and wants a divorce, and he goes proper mental. He punches through like the plate glass in the visitors room. You know, he goes mental. Anyway, he decides he's going to escape and kill her. That and her lover. That's it. That's his plan. But he's got a mate who's played by Ian McShane, who's amazing. He's a bit psycho. So, a bit jokery in this. And it's these two manage to escape, and it's quite an extended escape sequence. But Oliver Reed, in his escape, get this, in his escape, he climbs over barbed wire without any protection. He just climbs over it, doesn't care, bursts into a screws office, which has got a Doberman pincher, which he then kills with his bare hands after fighting, and so on. Right, this is how it goes. It's mental, and he's a real beast. But it's kind of weird because the director's kind of arty. So there's these weird arty bits, like for example, these coppers are chasing him at one point on motorbikes, and he's running through Washing. It's a council estate in South London. I mean, it's all set in South London, so it looks all really familiar to me because I grew up at this time period in South London. These concrete estates. But in the middle of like them chasing him with. Through this Washing, so they can't quite see him because it's washing everywhere. It kind of goes arty and has weird psychedelic music, and oh man, it's nutty. It's a nutty film, and it doesn't quite work because the talking is so not realistic. It's almost like hyper reality kind of. It's almost Lynchian, weird, right? In places, but then it's totally grounded, and they're constantly beating up people and threatening people. And he's got this gun that's unbelievable. It's a Mauser, right? So it's an auto, but not in the same way a Colt 45 is an auto. It literally fires like a submachine gun.
Yeah.
This Mauser, and he's got this gun with sights, so he's kind of using it as a sniper.
So it looks like the gun from Han Solo's gun.
Yeah, it does look exactly like Han Solo gun. And he's nuts. And you know what? He totally felt like, it was almost like, this feels like I'm watching Tom Hardy's dad in Bane, right? Because it starts with him exercising, like, pumping out, in his cell, doing all these exercises to keep super fit, sweating like a pig as he's doing it in this tiny little cell. Yeah, that's how it starts. So it's kind of, oh man, I'm feeling Tom Hardy Bane in this. So yeah, interesting film. Not perfect. I give it a 3 or 3.5 out of 5, but interesting film from the early 70s. And I've got it on Blu-ray, DVD, which you can't get now. I bought it years ago, imported it from America. But I don't think you can get it. You can get it second hand, but you can't actually buy it new. Anyway, yeah, interesting film. Back to you.
Okay, so my next one, as you probably predicted, is Godzilla X Kong. Yeah, the New Empire. Now this is a King Kong movie that Godzilla is also in. I'm going to be frank.
Oh, excellent! So, I like Kong. I've got to see. I was going to go and see it on Tuesday, but I just got into a new video game, which I'm going to talk about in a bit, and I kind of got, when you get into a game, you just want to play it, so I did that instead. But I might go and see. They got my local. They have, it's only £5 on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday night, so I might go and see it Tuesday. £5 is a bargain, right?
Yeah, that's a steal.
Like so
I saw it in IMAX. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, this cinema though. Get this. I nearly went to something else. They had a one-off showing of Predator on Wednesday night,
okay.
and I was so tempted, but I didn't. But that would have been. They do what they call the action zone now and again, and it was that. So I'm going to keep an eye on that cinema, man, because I'm sure they're going to have something. I mean, it's hard to. Predator's kind of hard to top. I mean, maybe RoboCop or something like that might top it, but Predator, man, yeah. Anyway, back to you.
So the premise of this movie is that Kong, he's still in the Hollow Earth from the end of the previous one, Godzilla vs. Kong.
Yeah.
He's wandering around, exploring, trying to find more of his people.
Like you're not going to spoil it too much, right?
Yeah, I'm just going to keep it vague.
Okay.
But I won't mention anything that's not in the trailer already. So.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Now, what he finds, after like a lot of fighting, like sort of innocuous monsters, is he finds some. Like he finds a couple of Kongs.
Yeah,
hostile.
That's in the trailers, right? Yeah, that's implied in the trailers.
And they are led by this beast called the Scar King.
Okay.
Who immediately starts shit with Kong.
Okay.
And it's implied Godzilla is aware of the Scar King and is just getting ready. So
it's almost like Kong has to deal with
Kong's
it a
kinda
bit
catching
before
up with
Godzilla
it.
gets involved.
Yeah,
right?
they're like, there comes a point where they're like, Kong's gonna need a lot of help with this, and then Kong immediately looks miserable.
It's a Rocky film, right? It's a Rocky
Yeah.
film.
Yeah.
It's a Rocky film. Oh, that's amazing. I do need to get to this.
Yeah, but the whole film is basically, it's like Kong having this whole thing about like discovering the self, finding out like his people exist, what they're called, that sort of thing. And then every 20 minutes or so, it cuts to Godzilla in mid-training montage, and then cuts back to Kong.
Does it play Eye of the Tiger on it?
No, but it does. Okay, it does have this new like vet character called Trapper, who's played by Dan Stevens. And
I like Dan Stevens. You don't see him enough.
Yeah, because you know it's kind of the done thing to put like 80s like rock and stuff.
Yeah.
Now, the way they put that in is they make it diegetic, and he plays a Titan vet.
Okay.
So he's like trained to like help these Titans. He knows everything about them medically.
Right.
And he just listens to music as he's doing stuff. So
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
like montages of stuff to like "I was made for loving you."
Oh,
like stuff
excellent!
like
A
this.
bit of Kiss. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, I am I'm juiced to see this now. I really am.
I won't mention much more, but yeah.
Would you say it's the best of the ones so far? Would you rate
I'd say I liked Godzilla vs Kong more.
Okay,
But I
well that
really
was
did enjoy
great.
this,
That was
so-
great. Yeah. Okay, all right. Yeah. I've seen some goofy things in the trailer too, but
Yeah.
I'm not too bothered about that. I don't mind. I was gonna actually try and cram the Monarch TV series before
Yeah, I
this
keep
came out,
meaning
but
to
I
watch
just
that.
I just
Yeah.
didn't. I've heard it's 50% great and 50%
Yeah.
a bit crap.
I've seen that they've done a fun thing where they've got what's his name?
Kurt Russell
Kurt Russell, yeah, in it as in like modern day stuff.
and then his
But
son.
they also have flashbacks as
Yeah.
with his son, who was in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, as himself, as the same guy
Yeah.
in like the 50s. So
Yeah, my understanding is the flashbacks are the bit where it drags a bit. That's
okay.
or it's either one or the other drags a bit. And the other one's all right, but the other one drags a little. But I don't really mind. I'm all right with that. I think because I'm kind of like this universe, so I'm going to put in the time. I keep meaning to rewatch the Dune TV series. That's really the first thing on my radar. But because I picked up a new game, I've kind of been doing that instead. But I'm kind of cooling down on the game, you know, in terms of playing it all the time. So I'm probably going to get to Dune at some point real soon, and then probably Monarch after that.
Yeah.
All right, okay, cool. Right, so this. My next one is this game I'm talking about, and it's Dune. It's Dune Spice Wars, which I did buy almost pre-release, you know, and not an alpha, but a beta maybe. I bought it at that stage, played it, liked it, didn't really understand because I kept going off the rails and losing out on one resource. They've rebalanced it somewhat, so it's much less you suddenly go off the rails and you can't recover kind of thing.
Yeah.
However, it's a very complex game. On PC, I tried it on Steam. It's not supposed to work, and it does work on Steam, but the writing is impossible to read almost. So you're better on a big screen. on a
Steam
PC.
Deck, okay.
Steam Deck, sorry, Steam Deck, I should have said. But it did seem to run on Steam Deck. So you play as you can. You can play multiplayer, which I've not tried. I've not tried an online game against someone because I'll get mashed. I'm having trouble just playing the AIs on single player mode. But essentially, you can be one of 4 factions, which is it rotates. Fremen appear to be a fraction, but I've never been given the option to play as Fremen. But they are there as AI, right? So, and I feel maybe on multiplayer you can play as a Fremen, but I don't know.
It's an unlock. Like you have to.
Maybe.
Or maybe
anyway.
that's like a deliberate thing. If you start as like the Atreides, and then if you do badly enough, like you could end up bunking with the Fremen.
Yeah, the main characters you can play as is the Atreides, and I've only ever played as the Atreides. Oh no, I tried one of the others briefly. Atreides, House Carino, House Harkonnen, and another one that I've never heard of called House Ekaz.
I think they're assassins. Like in the back,
I haven't quite got my head around what they're good at the minute. And you can also buy an add-on, which I have bought, play as an Ixian house called Verniaz. So the Ixians are technologically driven society, right? It's kind of secretive. And you're basically playing on Dune, And there's like 12 different resources to harvest, right? One's for building and expanding and stuff like that. Oh, sorry, several of them are for that. And so you obviously your key one's the spice. That's your money source, right? And power of your economy. And water. Those are the two big ones. The third one after that is something called plascrete, which is for building.
Yeah.
And then there's others. There's others, right?
Yeah.
And you're trying to balance them all. Every month you have to pay an imperial tax using the spice. It's only paid in spice. So you always have to harvest enough of that. And then the rest of the stuff you're thinking about, shall I expand? Shall I build? And there's ornithopters. It's really cool because there's ornithopters flying over Dune. You're controlling all the ornithopters and they're scouting. But there's also an entire political aspect to it, which is quite unusual. So basically you're investing in both spies and influence. So you're voting on the Landsraad. Right? I don't know. I'm getting very junior.
Yeah.
You're voting to have certain decrees passed that favour you or disfavour your opponents, you know, and everyone gets a vote, and all the houses minor, which are AIs, all vote too. So you've got to try and be nice to people to get influence, and but you can also, and I think things like the Atreides are really good at inspiring people and getting them to join them without
Landsraad, basically.
Yeah. Whereas the Harkonnens are like beast mode military, and they could do evil stuff like it's bastard mode basically. They could do evil stuff like kill their own assassins to improve their military building, you know, stuff like that. So it kind of reflects him. It's really fun. It's quite complex. Let's put it that way. And I've only played as the Atreides. I did briefly try the House Corrino, but their tech trees are like quite different. So, and it was hard enough working out the Atreides tech trees as well. So it's like, oh God, I don't know. So I've already got a page full of notes now saying, okay, do this tech tree, build this first, put an agent in this place first. Because you can place agents here, there and everywhere, and they give you benefits or downsides. So it's like a complex Age of Empires. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
And it looks good and it feels good, and I'm really enjoying it, I have to say. But an average game is a 5 hour.
Okay.
You obviously can save.
Yeah.
But it takes a good hour to just get your basics right. And it isn't about building massive armies to fight. It's about using a few, because they cost a lot, wisely. And I've tried doing swarm games. So I built a load of army, try and attack someone's base. They all die instantly. It feels like you have a massive benefit when you're fighting on home ground. So when someone attacks me with loads of soldiers, I only need a few to win. Right, and likewise, even swarming it with 10 army, two sets beat you. So it's like, what the hell? So it's kind of much more subtle than Age of Empires. But good game. I've gone on about it way too much. But good game. Back to you.
Okay, so my next thing is Dragon's Dogma 2, the sequel to the RPG, which came out about 12 years ago. It
came out ages ago. It was old school, wasn't it?
It was an Xbox 360 game, so it skipped an entire console gen.
Oh, whoa.
So this sequel, you play again as the Arisen, a human who's had their heart pulled out by the dragon.
Okay.
Dragons in this are much more like they're more in the vein of Excalibur. Like, they're massive,
scary,
powerful,
deific
sort of level characters.
But
basically, they choose like their opposition, and they eat their heart. That makes the opposition functionally immortal, and also able to interact with this magical like other race called pawns.
Okay.
You make your character and you make your pawn. But you can also hire 2 pawns, which are other people's like main pawns.
Okay.
And when you like send them off, if you like need to like spec out with more spellcasters or anything, you can rate them. You can give them a star rating about how well they did.
Okay.
And then you can like give them gifts to go.
Oh my God! They're trying to put social media gamification.
This was in the first game.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
But the premise of this one is like it's because the nature of the Dragon's Dogma world is kind of cyclical. Like, it just kind of loops every so often, and then there's a dragon. Yeah, so you're playing through as the new world. So the gist of it is basically figure out a way to kill the dragon. But the gameplay is what makes it spectacularly funny, because the pawns, they'll talk. They have their own like AI working in the background, and they'll learn from you. They'll also make sarky comments about you if they realize, for example, you've picked a party of all women to go with your male pawn.
Okay.
So,
yeah, nice.
or if you picked all guys, they'll be like,
So what's the feel of it? Is it a bit Baldur's Gate?
It's a hack and slash RPG, basically.
Is it like
It's
God
more
mode?
like-
you're overseeing
No.
your team.
You're like stood behind him. It's a third person hack and slash. But they're
Okay.
one of the main gameplay points is you can climb up monsters. Like if there's a giant cyclops coming at you, you got to jump on it and climb up it to stab at its eye.
Oh, you could do a bit of Legolasing, right?
Yeah.
What is it? What are you playing it on?
I'm playing it on PS5, but I do
PS5.
know it's on PC. Apparently, the game runs terribly on PC though.
Okay.
So that's partially why I avoided getting it on there.
Fair enough.
So that's Transdogma 2. I don't want to speak much more of it because the rest of it I'd really talk about is story stuff, and the game just came out, so
Yeah. That's fair. Okay, but you're enjoying it, right?
yeah, I'm having fun.
Cool. Right, my next one is an entire run, basically. Buffy, which I can't
Okay.
remember. Have I talked about Buffy before? Anyway,
So I'm not sure.
Buffy. I've spent about 3 years on and off watching all of Buffy. I have to say, there are 7 seasons. Seasons 5 and 6 were superb. Because 1 and 2 is just lightweight, goofy stuff you can run in the background while you're doing other stuff, but still enjoy, because of the chatter and bants and stuff.
Yeah.
With a bit of action and stuff like that, and likable characters. But 5 and 6 really, really shifted gear, and it got so much better. I mean, I stopped having it in the background because it would distract me too. So I'd watch it, proper, sit and watch it at the telly after that. And I just finished season 7, which was a bit of a step down because a lot of the big dramatic issues they raised in 5 and 6 was almost like, that's great. We don't need any more of that. That's great. But it was like the aftermath of that. Meanwhile, the end of the world's coming, so they had the stakes high, but the drama in the 5 and 6 was so good that in 7 it felt like they were trying to cram a bit too much in. However, it was still a great series. So Buffy is a big recommend to me. It's on. I'm trying to remember. It was streaming. I think it was either Prime or Disney. I think it might be Disney Plus.
Yeah, I think Disney has it now because it would have been a Fox.
Weirdly, right, you can't buy this series in Blu-ray or high quality at all. All there is DVDs. I bought the DVD box sets. It looks awful on a big telly, but the streaming looks great. Right, so
yeah, I imagine Disney has like master copies and they can properly upscale.
But why don't they use master copies to actually bring a box set out? It's so weird. It's so weird that something as popular as Buffy hasn't got a decent sort of physical release. Anyway, so it was. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. There was some really interesting. Now, I've never been a big fan of Buffy and Angel as a romance. It felt a bit Twilight, but slightly better than Twilight. But there's a whole thing where Buffy... Well, should I spoil it? Buffy hooks up with someone else who's way more interesting. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
In season 5, 6 and 7. So it's got some very interesting dramatic elements to it. Way more, oh God, not this again kind of stuff. So Buffy was really good. Really enjoyed it.
Okay. So, my next one is actually an anime that's been coming out weekly on Netflix by the name of Dungeon Meshi, or Delicious in the Dungeon. Now, what it is about is this party of adventurers, while raiding in this dungeon, run into a dragon and get fairly trounced. They get killed, but return to the surface by the offhand spells of our lead character, Laios. His sister, Farlin, sends them back to the surface, but gets eaten by the dragon. Now, they figure, because they're due to sort of, the rules of the setting, if someone dies in the dungeon, their soul stays in there, and they can kind of be revived if you recover enough of their body. So their plan is that they've got to get down into the dungeon, kill the dragon quickly, so that they can recover some of her body, so that they can revive her.
Okay.
Now they've realized, because they got teleported back to the surface, all of their supplies, all their food, all their money, all their everything, is still down in the bottom of the dungeon. So they've got nothing.
Right.
And to top it off, a bunch of the party leaves. So you're stuck with Laius, our main character, Chilchuck, a halfling, and Marciel, an elf wizard. And they basically it's them starting to figure out how to go into the dungeon. They bump into a dwarf called Senshi, who teaches them the basics of dungeon cooking, which is killing monsters and then cooking up them as food. So suddenly that harpy becomes a nice roast chicken. Same with the cockatrice. They make omelettes out of cockatrice eggs, for example.
Sorry,
well.
I've got to ask. You're talking about an anime, right?
Yes.
And what's it called? Dungeon Meshi.
Dungeon Meshi. It's also called Delicious in the Dungeon. So.
Okay. Sounds weird.
Yeah, it's a fun, really weird one. I like the weird sort of adventurous economy that it has, where so there is the revival stuff, but there's also like roving guys on the upper floors that will find and just recover bodies and basically force you to give them money so that because they've revived you as like thanks. Right. But then there's all sorts of stuff. And the premise is basically they're making their way down into the dungeon to save money on supplies. They're cooking and eating the monsters that they find. And every episode has a couple of monsters that they make a dish out of.
Okay.
So,
that sounds really good. It sounds like a shoe-in for a game.
Yeah.
Video game,
yeah,
doesn't
you can
it?
probably make a good game. And I read the manga. The manga finished and it was planned to have like a bunch of epilogue stuff. Okay. That didn't happen because Baldur's Gate 3 came out.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I mean, Dungeon Crawler, yeah. Older. Okay.
As in, the author finished it early so that they could play Dungeon.
I see. I thought you meant because it's so similar they would.
No.
Because there is a bit of dungeon crawling in Baldur's Gate. I think
there's a lot of dungeon crawling.
Okay, cool. My next one is a Sherlock Holmes movie. My favourite Sherlock Holmes movie, in fact. It's called Murder by Decree, made in the late 70s, and it's got Christopher Plummer as Sherlock Holmes and James Mason as Watson. And directed, it's so odd this, because it's directed by Bob Clark. Bob Clark's an interesting director, right? Because he's got these massive wins on his CV, but he's never really recognised as a director that much, right? I'll tell you what he's famous for. He's famous for this movie. He's famous for Black Christmas, which is a really intense horror film from the early 70s. Basically, does a lot of the stuff that Halloween did 5 years later. So in many ways, it's seen as the proto-slasher movie. Really intense. But he also made Christmas Story, the Christmas movie about the kid.
Yeah.
But he also made Porky's, right? Which is a goofy teen comedy, right? That people do not like it. It's very lowbrow. So it's like people consider it trash. But he made all these various films, but he does quite a good job. Anyway, this one, Sherlock Holmes investigating Jack the Ripper, basically. Okay. I don't really want to say more than that, other than a lot of the elements of the plot were kind of recycled in From Hell. Both the comic, the graphic novel and the film of that, the Johnny Depp film From Hell. But Christopher Plummer and James Mason are a terrific pairing. They're really good as a pair of Sherlock Holmes and Watson doing stuff, investigating what the hell Jack the Ripper's all about. And it's basically a conspiracy theory story, right? It's not a murderer killing women. There's a reason. They're all out, that's the plotting of it. I don't want to say too much more than that, but I really enjoyed it. Christopher Plummer is ace. He's really good at line delivery. I mean, he was Kang in Star Trek 6?
Yeah.
He was a great villain as Kang, and he gives great delivery. He's Shakespearean trained, and all this. And he does it really well. But this is a terrific Sherlock Holmes film. So I don't really want to say much more than that. If you haven't seen it and you like a bit of Sherlock Holmes, this is a corker. And it starts slow, so at the beginning you think, oh, what's going on? And it's got many trappings of horror films. There's first-person perspective of the killer, right, which is a slasher trope. And again, this was made in 1979. All right. Yeah. Halloween was 1978, I think. So, but even so, he did the same thing in Black Christmas 5 years before. So you can't say he's ripping off John Carpenter because he did it first. So, yeah, there's stuff like that. Yeah, really, really enjoyable. Over to you.
Okay, so my final thing is a game that's actually popped up on Steam for about £2. And that is Dungeon Keeper 2.
I bought that. I think you told me. And I haven't tried it yet. But I haven't played it
it's
again
still
yet.
So fun.
Yeah, you got the little elf things that look a bit like ETs. Yeah, imps. They look a bit like ET to me. And they're just wandering around building things. It is fun. It's a very fun game. Dungeon Keeper 2. Yeah. And 1. Yeah. Must look really old fashioned now though, right?
Yeah, it does. Especially on a 2K screen like I've got.
Yeah, I bet it looks real goofy. But yeah, it's good. It was so cheap as well, right?
Yeah.
In fact, I also went on a splurge out and bought a load of old Command & Conquer games.
Yeah, same.
Because they were like £2 for about 6 of them or something like that. It was ridiculous. So, but I do love those.
I found out about it from an article which was titled EA Suspiciously Generous with Command & Conquer sale.
Yeah, suspiciously. I like it. I mean, it's almost a precursor of Dune, Spice Wars, and there's a lineage there. So,
Command & Conquer, yeah.
Command & Conquer, I mean.
Dungeon Keeper. Dungeon Keeper got to do
Dungeon Keeper 2, though, No, sorry, I meant Command & Conquer. But Dungeon Keeper 2 is a real lot of fun. And I like the vocal stuff. I like the voice work, too.
Weird,
it's kind of fun.
Tim Curry-esque guy in the background.
Yeah, rumbling voice guy. Yeah. That was quite good. Right, I've got one more. I'll finish with a bang, though. I am rewatching Doctor Who. I've watched all the classics, and I'm working through... the new era. I've finished Eccleston and I've finished one season of Tennant and I'm starting the next season of Tennant. But I have to mention the Christmas special. Yeah. It was so good. The Runaway Bride. It was so good. Honestly, Donna, I think, is my favourite companion now. Yeah. Donna and Tennant, basically Catherine Tate and David Tennant, they're so good. And they smashed it in that special. It kind of wrecked it for Martha. Because honestly, I remember through the whole run of Martha, I was thinking, I wish this was Donna. And then Donna became into it, didn't we? So we kind of forget Martha. Which is a bit unfortunate because Martha's all right as a character.
Really
she's okay. She's not Rose. Rose is very special. But then to have Rose before you and then Donna after you is not a good thing. But I quite liked Martha, and that's the ones I'm watching in a minute, the Martha ones. And there's some interesting stuff going on in the Martha ones, I have to say. But I have to mention Runaway Bride. I have a few real favourite episodes of the modern era. Yeah. And Runaway Bride is number 3 for me, but it might be higher, if you know what I mean. Because the ones I really like, there's 2 of Matt Smith's ones, and I haven't got back to them yet. So when I rewatch them, I think I'll know, is Runaway Bride better than these? But Runaway Bride is, if you're going to watch one episode of Doctor Who, it's Runaway Bride. It's the most fun. It really is. So yeah. I just wanted to mention that. I was blown away about how much I enjoyed it again. But yeah, Tennant's specials are very good. I mean, they get a bit maudlin as he's going to his Matt Smith era, but I mean, those early ones are really great, those Christmas episodes. So yeah. Anyway, that one's up, I think. That's everything for this month. So, okay. So we'll be doing another company chair in a month. So, bye from me. Bye.